press record.
Oh, that's very important.
I have made that mistake before.
Yeah, but I think you've only done it like once, which is pretty impressive for how many times you've gone.
I wonder what the percentage of other podcasters who forget to push the red button.
It's got to be a lot,
It's easy to do. You just
Like-
get talking, and then you're just like, oh.
Oh,
Let's
I didn't
start the
realize it
show.
already started.
Well, we have definitely started.
All right.
Hi, and welcome once again to Seattle's #1 comic book podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic, and I am Larry.
And I am James.
What's up, cool dude?
Oh, nothing but all the cool stuff. It's not hot, let me just tell you that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, everything is okay except the weather.
Yeah, cool about the weather.
Right
But
on.
that's all right. We're cool inside, Nobody can see the weather when they're listening to our audio. They could be listening like a month from now when it's nice and sunny out.
Yeah. Well, wherever you are listening, I hope that you got us cranked up and you can hear both of us. Radio
Yeah, that's
check.
very important. Most importantly, that you can hear me.
And me.
Oh, all right. It's a tie then, I suppose. It would be kind of weird if, I was just, twice as loud as Larry.
Oh, it could be arranged. I can tweak.
If you insist.
I can tweak the knobs. So episode 63, James. We've been doing this over a year now,
Oh, my goodness.
and we got a great book to talk about tonight. But before we do that, I want to thank once again Reed Olson.
Reed.
Wasn't
Shout
he great?
out, Reed. Yeah, he was awesome.
He is great. He is the artist on a book called Dream Crasher, which is available on Comixology. Pick it up. He was great, and we talked about The Dying and the Dead, James's new favorite,
Oh, yeah.
and definitely high on my list too. So thanks
Yeah.
again, Reed, for being here. That was fun.
Yeah, and definitely, especially if you like black and white, if you like the dystopian type future, then check out that Dream Crasher. Dream Crasher?
Dream Crasher, yeah.
Phew. It's like I don't have it written in front of me. I'm like, don't make the mistake.
All right, I wrote down the book that we were going to talk about, and a book I want to talk about in Recent and Decent, and the book we're going to talk about next week. What should I do first?
Well, let's start with the book we're going to do next week. I'm just kidding. Let's go Recent and Decent.
All right, so
Of
we're going to
course.
dive into Recent and Decent.
What is it?
Now, off air, James and I were talking about how you can dive into comics, and you don't necessarily have to jump right in, and or you don't necessarily have to start with #1.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. Sometimes it's good.
Yeah.
You know.
You don't have to start out as a white belt and move all your way up. You can start right in as a green belt.
Exactly.
That's
And
not a great analogy.
well, the green belt of Recent and Decent this week is Batman 24. What? Batman 24. This is part of the Rebirth thing that they're doing at DC. It's a DC comic. Batman is DC. And it's written...
When did they start that rebirth? 24 doesn't seem like very far along.
Last...
Doesn't
a year and a half ago. A year ago.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of a different reboot.
No, they reboot them. You know, we've actually done some of the new 52 that they did.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That was big time, and that was, gosh, that was like 5 years ago now. So
Yeah,
this reboot is a second, a third, a fifth reboot. So #1 sell a lot of comics. So if you put out your #1, put Batman #1 out there again, you're going to sell more Batman #1s.
Yeah, people will be rubbing their hands,
Who is going to buy and read issue number 24? It's stale, right? Not this issue number 24. This is Recent and Decent.
Nice. You're looking out for us, Larry. You're reading them all.
Yes, I'm reading a lot of comics. And this one is written by Tom King with art by David Finch. And now David Finch has...
Oh, he's a big name.
Yeah, he is a great artist. On this particular comic, he makes Batman look so freaking rough. He's got stubble. He's got muscles on top of muscles. And he makes Catwoman look amazeballs. So
I like the rough kind of superhero character.
Oh,
I'm not as big of a fan of this. Well, I guess I like polished sometimes, but rough is my style.
So this story, and I'm going to go ahead and just spoil it, but you should pick it up for the art, and you should pick it up because this is a great place to just jump into a new story arc with the Bat.
And there's so many Batman things to jump into. It's like, you gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. Why not issue 24? This is a back and forth story with a character named Gotham Girl, and I can't remember if we talked about Gotham Girl and her brother Gotham. They're characters in Batman's Rebirth world. Okay.
Was she wasn't in the Frank Miller one we did, was she?
No.
Okay, that's a different girl.
That's a different girl. So yeah. Gotham Girl.
I have such limited Batman knowledge. I gotta pretend like I know stuff.
Gotham Girl and Batman are having a deep conversation about. She's back and forthing about whether or not she wants to be a superhero. He's saying, "I can
don't do it.
I can set you. It's entirely up to you. Don't ask me." And she's wondering if she's going to be wasting her life fighting crime. She's asking him if he's wasted his life fighting crime and being the strong superhero that he is. When you can see, and this is where the art and the writing, Tom King's writing is just awesome here. He puts together this story about, and you see it in the art, especially in the art, you see Batman's face change, and all of the while, it's a bat chasing the Catwoman, Catwoman, across rooftops and stuff, and they meet on a rooftop. It's raining, gorgeous scene. Batman goes down on one knee and asks Selina to marry him.
Whoa, that's a big move.
Huge, right? Total spoiler alert. I hope I put that spoiler out.
Has that ever happened in a Batman before?
Not one I've read.
Wow, that means it probably hasn't.
So recent and decent. Check it out. That's Batman Rebirth number 24, written by Tom King. I loved it.
I have a random question. Do birds and bats fly when it's raining really hard?
I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen it, but I don't know if I was ever paying attention till this moment.
I remember we were. Have you ever seen bats out at night? It's scary.
Yeah, they're crazy because you'd think they're like a bird, but then their wings flap different.
And they flitter.
They go way higher. Yeah,
and they flitter. Oh, it's creepy. All right, so let's jump into the Autumnlands.
Yeah.
So,
go. I was going to try to think of something different to say, but I had nothing.
It feels like the Autumnlands out there tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Written by Kurt Busiek, with art by Benjaman Dewy. It was published by Image. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely no charge free if you are a subscriber to Comixology Unlimited. Actually, both trades are unlimited free on Comixology Unlimited.
I didn't make it to I never make it to the second one until we've done our episode. No spoilers for me.
Well, if I didn't...
But Larry, have you read any of the ones past this? Because I do have some I will have some questions about what happens.
I have a funny story.
Oh, good.
Ryan Berg, who was on the show one time with me, he was a guest host when you were on a walkabout, and Ryan turned me on to Autumnlands. He says, "You got to check out Autumnlands, Autumnlands," and I saw it at Arcane Comics and More. Shout out! And I picked it up immediately, and the cover of Autumnlands is very dark, and I didn't see that I picked up the second trade. And I read the second trade as though it were the first trade, and I freaking loved it. And that's
interesting.
And that's when I was like, wow. And then rereading And then I also picked up the first trade after I realized my mistake. After rereading this first issue, I was a little, not completely disappointed, but we don't meet the champion.
Oh, okay.
At all in this first issue.
Because that was going to be some of my questions is like how much that's in this first issue carries through to the next issue, and we'll come to different parts where hopefully you'll be able to help me a little bit. But they throw a lot at you in this first issue.
They really do. And
so it's like sometimes I like hope that it's not important, the stuff I don't understand or I'm not picking up, but sometimes it is, and then I feel like I underestimate a comic. So we'll see how it goes, but there's a lot going on in this one.
There's a lot going on in this one, and the one thing I will say about this is magic. Magic is what is, well, yeah,
That's
magic.
what it's all about.
Magic is what it's all about, and anthropomorphous animals.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that's a great way to sum up this comic. Like, probably like the plot is about magic, and the characters are animals, and the animals are maybe that's my favorite. I mean, sometimes I like to end with saying what my favorite part is, but I'll start off in saying the drawing of the different animals is so realistic and well done that I think it was my favorite part.
I think that's one of my favorite parts too. And I also like the sizing and their hands. Like an owl has, like, it doesn't have quite talons because it's their wings poking out of the clothes that they wear. But I was looking at the owl's hands, and like the owl's hands look like human hands, but there's just enough bird to them to be.
Yeah, that's like, and like everybody stands on 2 feet, and they posture like humans, but their faces are still very recognizable as, you know, a boar or a buffalo or a pit bull or whatever animal. The other thing is I think they did an interesting job of what animals they chose. Like, it was kind of I wouldn't have guessed that they were the ones, but we'll get to that.
Well, so the one other thing, the sizing. Okay. Like a squirrel is the same size as like a warthog. Mm-hmm. Did you catch that?
Yeah, so it kind of puts them all on a more even playing field.
Right on. So, James, get us started into this crazy world of the Autumnlands.
Okay, so we start off with like these pit bull type characters. Is that what dog it is? Pit bull?
Yeah, I think he's a pit bull.
Yeah, and like one of them, like they're like white, and some of them have like black spots, and they got the pit bull face. And like every
Spuds McKenzie.
Spud, there you go. Shot. Was he Budweiser?
No, he was it'll come to me. I drank a lot of it in high school.
Spuds. So we kind of follow this character, and he's going through like his morning routine, and you see him go through this like, it's almost like a port town kind of thing, and he's like turning on the lamps, and you see like it talks a lot about like the religion, and like, you know, he goes through his, you know, we fear the gods, and we do our morning rituals and the laws and edicts, and he starts to mention like wizards, and you see a lot of crystals, and then you see like flying things, and it kind of grows out, so you see, okay, there's like a bunch of different types of characters, and there's magic, and there's like some kind of spirituality to it.
Right. It reminded me a lot of my trip to India. Like, there's a lot of, like, when he is doing his morning rituals of like praying to each deity, and like each deity, but like the deities are funny because they're like, this deity protects us, like Homeland Security sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny one. That one stood out to me too.
But he goes through his whole series of
morning events.
Of his morning events.
And it like in this beginning, it does a good job of like letting the art speak